they could see a measurable decline in the amount of virus detected in the nasopharynx. In addition, the symptomatic duration seems to be shortened. So these are promising signs, and I work on the antibodies, so I believe these are the results I expect, and I'm glad he's on this kind of experimental therapy rather than, say, hydroxychloroquine.
Dr. Ho, you've already answered a number of my questions about this in terms of the stage of development, why he would be treated early on with something like this, and what the hope is for this kind of things. Two quick follow-up questions, and I will admit to you at the outset these are sort of dumb. One is, given the early developmental stage of these types of therapies, and this Regeneron one in particular, is there any reason to worry that it might be dangerous? And two, is the fact that the president, is the way these drugs are administered part of what might explain why the president is hospitalized? Is this something that you actually need to be in the hospital to receive, in the sense that it comes in some sort of transfusion or in some other way of administering it where the patient needs to be monitored closely?
Well, let me take the second one first. At least from my reading of the online coverage, he apparently had received the Regeneron antibody prior to going to the hospital. But in general, these antibodies would need to be given intravenously or intramuscularly or subcutaneously. So it would be done via an injection. It cannot be taken orally. In terms of side effects, as I said earlier, antibodies of this sort came from human beings, so they're not going to be immediately toxic. Now, there are situations where the antibody could cause an acute allergic reaction, and that could be dangerous. But the president is well beyond that point. There are infrequent late complications, but they're not, I don't think they will be so prominent in our anticipation at this point.
Dr. David Ho, Scientific Director and CEO at the Airman Diamond AIDS Research Center, currently working on antibody-based treatments for COVID-19. Sir, thank you for being here tonight. Again, it's an honor to have you here.
My pleasure. Thank you, Rachel.
All right, as we continue to absorb the news about the president's hospitalization for COVID-19 and try to understand its implications, we're going to be talking with one of the Democrats in the leadership in the House. Congressman Jim Clyburn is going to join us to talk about some of the sobering implications about potential succession issues. Stay with us. News of the president's condition had serious reverberations on Capitol Hill today. Lawmakers raced to determine, among other things, who might have been in contact with the president and with his close contacts who the president might have exposed. Anger also grew over the lack of any comprehensive testing system for members of Congress and their staff. I should also tell you that this past hour on MSNBC, former Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson said that the next 5 officials in the line of succession for the presidency should now be quarantined for their own safety in order to protect the line of succession in the country. The next 5 in the line of succession would include the Vice President, Mike Pence, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the Senate President, who is Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa, and then the 2 cabinet members who come next in the line of succession.